the next lesson is never drink shots at a conference.
Always wanted to go to spring break. Damn it.
It was good.
Okay, hi there. My name's Eric Rogers of Duetto. And will I get an extra 35 minutes or? Okay, here we go. So, Duetto is a revenue strategy platform. We effectively developed revenue strategy as a concept. And it all started off at the Wynn in Las Vegas. There was two guys, Marco and Patrick, senior executives in the company. Marco, LV, Las Vegas, University of Las Vegas, but also ex-Cornell. And Patrick was a Harvard guy, so pretty bright chaps. And Marco and Patrick, they developed this concept. They developed a division within the Wynn, which was the Enterprise Strategy Group. The idea was to bring in different silos and put them together. So you didn't have revenue management sitting in a dusty corner somewhere. It was front and center in terms of the strategy of the hotel, of the group. Sitting by the side of that, marketing and various other disciplines within. So it was no longer considered as a standalone product. It's actually quite important. When you look at strategy within a hotel, where do you look at? You look at different areas, and you might focus on the strategy of a specific department, but it shouldn't be done like that. It should be done as an overall, and revenue management comes up then front and center. Now, they developed this revenue strategy department, and from there was born open pricing. The concept was that really they were unhappy with the way that things were done in the past. If we go back into the past, 10 years ago, everything was bar level. Prices just moved like this. It went up, went down, and every single segment would move in accordance. That wasn't really such a great idea. It allowed you to leave money on the table. So they moved away from that. They brought in a concept called open pricing. So effectively, to get rid of this bar level pricing, to actually price things accurately in order to make sure that you maximize on every room. Maximizing your asset value effectively. So that was, if you like, the first part of open pricing. Now, you couldn't do that with the technology that was around at the time. The existing systems had pretty much taken the traditional way, the spreadsheet, the Excel, and digitized them, just put them into a computer. It wasn't enough. So Marco went back to the drawing board and came out with a spreadsheet, came out with macros, came out with concepts. But that was great, and there are some hoteliers here today that still swear by it. I was talking to one earlier, and he's very, very happy with what he's doing because he knows he's maximizing what he can do. But it's a complicated process, it's very time-consuming, and it does mean that you spend an awful lot of your time crunching numbers. It also means that your revenue managers tend to be very much overworked, and that can be a challenge in itself, actually keeping your staff in employment, because they might want to move on to somewhere where they can do things a little bit easier. So when we get to that point, the challenge was then, how do you actually scale it? How do you take a spreadsheet, and how do you actually create this concept and get it out to the market? They needed some help. And one of Patrick's friends over drinks suggested they talk to a guy called Craig. Craig had been CTO at Salesforce. Has anybody here not heard of Salesforce? Seriously, stick your hand up. Okay. Nobody has not heard of Salesforce. Great. Salesforce is the #1 SaaS product in the world, designed for sales guys, people like me. So it has to be easy to use. It has to be intuitive. It has to be something that you can just open and use, because most companies are not going to send you on a 3-day, 3-week training course to figure out how to be able to put your leads in and everything else. So he's got some very clear idea in terms of what makes a simple solution. At the end of the day, nobody's ever been trained on using Facebook, Snapchat, any of these other products. They should just work. So they managed to convince him to come on board. And between Marco, Patrick, and Craig, they became the founders of Duetto, and that happened 7 years ago. Now, I'm not sure if that qualifies us as a startup anymore, but we've been in the UK now for about 3 years, and in that time, we have over 3,000 hotels using Duetto, and half of them are in EMEA, which is not bad. It's good numbers. What have we actually achieved for our customers in terms of numbers? When I joined Duetto, I've been at Duetto since the beginning of the year. When I joined Duetto, we used to speak about 6.5% RevPAR index growth for our customers. What we'd do is we'd take the whole lot, everybody that was using open pricing had been using Duetto properly, put them in a bucket and work out what the figure was. That was great. But the challenge comes when you get to the number of hotels we have. Some of those hotels are in year 2, year 3, so we then started to split it out. What we found is in the first year, the hotels that were fully implementing Duetto open pricing, 8.1%, which is pretty reasonable. I don't think many people here would balk at getting an extra 8.1%. The interesting thing, though, came in year 2. We still saw 3.5%. That's obviously on top of what you've done in terms of lifting your hotel revenue in the first year. And that's quite an achievement. And in the third year, we saw more growth as well. I like to call that the Duetto effect. Now, Duetto is an easy-to-use system. We heard talk earlier about training. And training is a big issue. Our training takes 3 hours. Not 3 days, not 3 weeks, 3 hours. That's 3 one-hour sessions, after which you can't do everything, we accept that, but you can certainly do enough to do most things. So it's very simple, it's very straightforward, but there is a complexity below. After that, you're not left alone. We have a team called Customer Success. Now, they're not IT guys, they're revenue managers. They have on average 10 years experience doing the revenue manager role within large groups, small groups, major hotels, minor hotels. So they've got a huge amount of experience. That experience translates into them actually understanding where you are, what you are doing as a hotelier, and what you need to achieve. So it starts off, these customer success guys will do the training. After that, you move to a weekly call. During that time, there's going to be questions, there's going to be answers, and you're going to move forward. Their job doesn't stop there. You see, we achieved 8.1%. We're kind of happy with that, but we need to maintain it. And the way we do that is we challenge you. We look at what you're doing, how you're doing it. We suggest alternatives, better ways. We help you strategize. And by doing that, we help your revenue managers become better at actually what they're doing. We improve their capabilities. And I think that is what comes through in the year 2 and the year 3. As you start to spend more time strategizing and less time crunching numbers, that starts to really show through. Are you kidding me? I've got 1 minute 46 left. Get the shot ready, okay? Okay, I need to tell you about Scoreboard. There's 2 elements to this, okay? One is something that's going to appeal to the owner, the asset manager, and that is how much money you're going to make on this in terms of how much additional revenue you're going to be able to gain. The second part is Scoreboard, and that really, really is for the revenue manager. Every time I'm on a presentation, we start talking about product, about this, about what we can actually do. When the revenue managers get to see Scoreboard, they absolutely love it. And the reason they do is because your forecasts, your budgets, your reports are all there. All the data is pulled through, and it's just there. You tell us what you want to see, and it is accurately presented within Scoreboard. Now, that's great, and that solves one headache. The other headache is when management asks for those reports, you know the ones where they want you to collate data and compare it to this? What business are we doing in Germany? What are we getting from our different buckets? How can we do better? For that, you're going to need additional answers. So there's a customized area within Scoreboard to allow you to drill down, to create reports that would take half a day to run, and you can do it with a click of your mouse And once you've created that report, you can share it. It's just done. So suddenly, that really frees up the time of the revenue manager to actually spend and devote to thinking about ideas how to improve the actual business they're doing. Where should we be focused? You know, I'm sorry, 10 minutes is just not enough. Okay. I think you got the idea. All I will say is, just on closing, I joined Duetto 2nd of Feb. They said that revenue managers were the smartest people in a hotel. I absolutely agree with them. I can't believe how complicated that job is. Without having Duetto, having a solution like Duetto, I cannot understand why you'd even want to get into it in the first place. It's just that difficult to do. But it is an amazing business, and in terms of what Duetto has delivered to our customers already, I'm kind of impressed. Anyway, thank you very much.